It is kind of odd that this is the week we all, myself included, seem to be focused squarely on the offense, because this is the week you could pretty much presume there's going to be a lot of offense no matter how they perform. I'm Dejan Kovacevic of DK Pittsburgh Sports. This is Double Shot of Steelers presented by FanDuel. It comes your way at 4 p.m. Eastern Time, live every weekday. Be joined very shortly here by Chris Halleck over on the South Side after he covered the Steelers practice as well as coordinator Thursday. And the highlight, if you can call it that, of coordinator Thursday was Arthur Smith, because that's all everybody's been talking about is the offense and what it is that needs to be fixed and how to address it. This was Art asked very generally to do exactly that.
Well, there's a lot of things, I like the resiliency of this group. It's an unselfish group. I've said that many a times. It gives you a chance, even in a game is like on Sunday night, the ebb and flow, even late, we had a long drive down there, there's not guys down there pouting and, crying or whatever language I can use here, but you got an ugly game like that, you're trying to steal a win, and we didn't take advantage of the opportunity. We got down there on a screen and chance to cut it within 5 with plenty of time, but that's not the way it went. So, overall, I think guys have made plays in big moments. There's ongoing work every season. You can start out hot. Here we are right at a halfway point, and with an opportunity Sunday, the huge divisional game. But we got to continue to improve, and obviously we got to bounce back from Sunday night.
Now, the volume of information contained in that full minute of discussion there was zero. That's also how coordinator Thursdays go. Nobody's thinking, man, I can't wait to tell these reporters everything. So I get that part. I can also respect what Arthur is saying about the resiliency of the offense. You haven't seen them fold. You haven't seen them, get goofy and fall apart no matter what the score is of the game. It feels like we're reaching for stuff. We are. This team needs to build a foundation, and it needs to build it at ground level, quite literally. They need to run the ball. They need to get big. They need to hold on to it. This is stuff that everybody's been talking about, but it also affects the defense. It's all interconnected. A lot more than maybe most realize happens in this beautiful sport of football. What one side does affects the other. What the special teams do affects both. This team needs to get it together offensively. I don't care if Arthur tells me what that is on Thursday. I really don't. I do care that they go out there and show that resiliency in a different way. They need to go out there and be tougher than the other guys. They need to battle for every yard, but I'm thinking more like every 5 or 6 yards would be a better fit. When we come back, we're going to be joined by Chris Halleck.
For those of you who are doing real work in construction, in a warehouse, if you're a mechanic, you want reliable, comfortable gear to help you perform well on the job. Brunt Workwear's got you. They've got waterproof boots, safety toe, soft toe, pull-on, lace-up, whatever you need. You can wear them to work, and if they're not right for you, send them back. I don't know of any other brand doing that. Brunt was tired of the workwear brands out there cutting corners. You work too hard to be stuck in uncomfortable boots that don't hold up. So they built something better. Boots that are insanely comfortable and built for any job site. For a limited time, our listeners get $10 off. Just head to bruntworkwear.com. Use the code DK Sports and you're good to go. After you order, they'll ask you where you heard about Brunt. Do us a favor here at DK Pittsburgh Sports and tell them it was from this show.
Welcome back to Double Shot of Steelers. He's Chris Halleck over there in the media lot over on the South Side. I want to, before we get too heavy into the football here today, congratulate Doug and Susan, who were just in the shop here. Doug had just proposed.
What?
To Susan, dude, they live in North Carolina. He's originally from Churchill. He proposed, and she said yes. And that's a congratulations moment here.
Yeah, absolutely. Congratulations. That's awesome.
From all of us. Very, very cool. The Steelers are favored to beat the Bengals by
5.5 still.
5.5 still. Any thoughts on why that might not have moved this week, Chris?
I think we pretty much learned everything that's like majorly impactful early on in the week. You know, obviously when the line first opened, it was -6. And then, the Steelers stink it up. So maybe Vegas is a little like, let's bring it down. Let's narrow it a little bit. But then the Bengals are definitely without Trey Hendrickson and could be without a couple of other players. And so, Joe Burrow's not playing. Yeah, he's returning to practice, but he's not playing. So maybe it's not enough to swing it that much in favor of the Bengals. But maybe it's just that defense, that Cincinnati defense is just – like maybe even this Steelers offense can put up points on them.
Yeah. It is time to check out all of the latest odds, futures, and win totals on the FanDuel Sportsbook. If you think the Steelers are going to take care of business, and I do think that's a fair way to assess it, take care of business. Lock in your bets today. Whatever your game, the FanDuel Sportsbook delivers the latest lines, futures, and specials so that you can join in on all the action. Chris is already going to go berserk with running the football here. What's going to happen? Let me put it this way. Is it going to be more of a let's identify who we are and build up our strengths, or is it just let's just do whatever we need to do to beat Cincinnati? Because those could be two different things.
I think it's more of the latter. Obviously, I think you have to have a sound strategy. No matter what, no matter who you're playing, you have to try to formulate a game plan to specifically beat the defense across from you. And yes, the Bengals are terrible in just about every way on the defensive side of the ball, but they still play a specific way. That's why, you consistently see a player like Pat Freiermuth who usually has success because his game matches up well against the way the Bengals play defense. And so it's about utilizing players like that. It's about it's also about like making sure you're like not saying you're risk averse, but at the same time, you're not doing nothing but take risks. You have to play a style of offense that's going to consistently move the ball downfield, get those chunk plays. And obviously the chunk plays really, really helped in that first game against the Bengals. That's how the Steelers moved the ball a lot. You weren't going to have a lot of drives that were going to be those 12-play, 7-minute drives. It was going to be, they're going to have one or two plays go for 30 or 40 yards, and that's going to get them on the other side of the field pretty quickly. So I think it's finding the best ways to create explosive plays. It doesn't also always mean throwing a ball 50 yards downfield, but also when you look at the way Jaylen Warren ran against that Bengals defense last time, I don't know how you don't try to do that a little bit more often, because my God, he was going to have a career day against that defense if he kept running the ball.
Yeah, I mean, he really was. And it wasn't about to let up. And there was one element to this. I don't want to keep revisiting the Chargers game because we have another game to look forward to here. But there's one thing that leaps out at me still, maybe because it happened like right below us, the press box. But seeing Caleb Johnson come out there for that one series, it's not a knock on Caleb. Okay, I'm on the record, and I'm going to continue to be on the record that I believe in him. I think he got started off in a weird way. The kick return thing never should have happened because he never should have been put on kick returns. It's not like you're a running back, so you know how to do that. But seeing him come out there when you knew that Jaylen hadn't even been used, it was almost as if it was so preordained. Well, when we get to our third series, we'll go with Caleb. Well, what if you didn't use your main guy hardly at all on the first two series? Do you follow me? I'm being more general here than I am specific, and I swear it's not about Caleb. It's just, did you not notice that you hadn't used 30 very much to that point, that he was completely fresh and was probably a better choice to get you out from underneath your own goalpost?
I think the one, and I understand the reason for doing this, because when you have a number of players that can attack defenses in different ways, you want to utilize, because it does keep the defense on their heels a bit. Because if it's just Jaylen Warren all game long, you know what to expect, but if it's Jaylen Warren here, if it's Kenneth Gainwell there, if it's Caleb Johnson here, those are three different backs that all do different things, and they all do different things well or have other deficiencies in their game. The problem is, and I've kind of noticed this, I don't have as many criticisms about Arthur Smith as many other people do. But the one thing that I don't like about it so far, and it might be my biggest criticism, is it almost feels like they rotate players for the sake of rotating players. There were a number of times last season in which you're in 12 personnel and your two tight ends on the field are Connor Hayward and Michael Pruitt. Why? Like, what is, like, you have Pat Fryman sitting on the sideline. You have Darnell Washington sitting on the sideline. It's not like those guys are playing 90% of the snaps every game. Like, utilize your best players. And sometimes I feel like they're rotating running backs because, well, we have all these running backs, so we need to rotate them. Jaylen Warren is far and away your best running back. And I dare I say, I know it's a hypothetical, but if Jaylen Warren is on an offense that knows how to run the ball and knows how to utilize a running back skill sets, I'm sorry, I think he's a Pro Bowler. Like, I think he's that good.
I do think, devil's advocate here more than anything else here, I do think that rotation for rotation's sake can come with both a cause and merit. One of the things that you have to do as an offensive coordinator is to make sure that you have your players involved, that they're not practicing for nothing, that they're part of the team. That you have some kind of balance, because heaven knows, especially when it comes to receiving positions, whether it's wide receiver or tight end, everybody's counting everybody's targets and what's fair and what's not fair. And I was open and he wasn't open and all that other stuff. So I get it to an extent, but I also don't get it to an extent. Like, I see exactly what you're saying here. It's not just, Paulie says here, the participation trophy coordinator, everyone plays. No, they're part of the team. And you do want to get them out there. But what drives you nuts, and this is closer to the reality, is what Kenny says here, is that Bijan Robinson sat on the bench in Atlanta under Arthur, and it drove the Falcons fans, all four of them, crazy. And you still hear this from all four of those fans, that Robinson was like, they didn't use him. They didn't use Drake London the way they should have. They didn't use Jonnu Smith in his prime the way they should have. And that was the thing that ended up hurting Arthur. Certainly it was the thing that got all four of those fans to criticize Arthur all the way out of town. Strays coming from Pittsburgh to Atlanta for absolutely no reason today.
Honestly, there were probably more fantasy football fans that were upset about it than actual Falcons fans.
I would imagine that was the case.
Yeah, that's probably because you have a lot of people who drafted Bijan Robinson high in the first round in their fantasy leagues and did not get the volume of touches to merit a third or fourth or fifth overall pick.
The PA announcer at their stadium / spaceship, the PA announcer just repeatedly referring to these human beings as dirty birds. All right, dirty birds. Here come the dirty birds. Go, dirty birds. They just kept going with this dirty birds thing, which, if I recall correctly, wasn't that a 1-year thing? The year that Matt Ryan and the Falcons made it to the Super Bowl?
I honestly don't remember.
I think it was. Falcons. No, neither does anybody in Atlanta.
Yeah.
Oh, the Atlanta Strays today.
Well, okay, I'll give Atlanta a compliment, and we can we don't have to veer too far off. But even after going to SoFi, my favorite road stadium that we've traveled to, and I've been to 18 of the 30 stadiums now. My favorite so far is Mercedes-Benz Stadium. That is my favorite one. I really enjoy that stadium. Both times we've been there.
Okay. Not me.
I like the working conditions. I like the size of the press box. I like where the press box is located. The food's really good. There's at least signage to tell you where to go. unlike SoFi.
SoFi was they did not spend any of their $6 billion budget on signage. That's for sure here. Dirty Bird. Here we have some explanations on Dirty Bird. Jamal Anderson didn't Dirty Bird dance well before their Super Bowl year. That's actually true. It was the Dirty Bird dance in the end zone that started. It wasn't started in the 90s, they point out here. Wow.
Yeah,
these people know more about the Falcons than all 4 of the Falcons fans.
That would have been late 90s. That would have been Super Bowl 33 that they were in against the Broncos and got demolished.
Beer is good food for you, says rhythm is a real thing. Gainwell and Johnson should both be used to give Warren a breather. Weapons are to be used, not conserved. That sounds good. Except at what point did Warren need a breather in that game? He carried the ball 14 times. It was thrown to him twice. And that's targets. Now, granted, that's not the only thing that the running backs are doing out there, and Jalen is one of the better blockers at his position in the entire NFL. But don't tell me he was gassed. Don't tell me that he was, oh, man, I touched the ball 5 times today. I can't go back out there for more. Send the rookie. Come on, man.
But here's the other side to that. You just said that Jalen Warren is one of the best blocking running backs.
He is.
So I agree.
Oh, I know what you're going to say. Go ahead.
So why in the heck did he not play just even one snap on 3rd down on Sunday night?
Don't know. Why did Gainwell end up with more snaps than Warren did overall? Yeah. That's not carries, touches. It's actual being on the field.
Yeah.
Why did that happen?
I
don't know. This is what you're talking about when it's one thing to rotate guys. It's another thing to rotate with a purpose and with a plan. And I felt like a lot of that was deeply disappointing in Inglewood. I would really love to see this. Here's my vision for this week. It's not a prediction. I don't do predictions. It's a vision thing. Okay. Steelers take the field as an offense. They don't care that the middle of the field is wide open. This isn't going to happen. None of this is going to happen. So just hear this out. If they take the field and they say, listen, we could throw to Pat Freiermuth 30 times today because he's just going to be standing there in the middle of the field, or he could be sitting in a lawn chair with a sandwich in his hand, waiting for the ball to come. Or the Steelers say, this is the week. We're going to set up who we are. We put our bigs on the field. We run hard. We block hard. Our wide receivers. I don't even want to hear or know who WR2 is if the name isn't Ben Skoranek. Because all I want to do is block. All I want to do is knock them on their rear ends. That's all I want to do. And if it takes me all day to put up the points that I'm going to put up, I'm all right with that. I'm all right with that because you know what? It's going to better prepare me to beat Buffalo the following week. That's not to suggest that you can take a team lightly that just beat you. So I can see where that would come across as a little bit confusing. Like, what are you talking about? You're acting like this is an exhibition game. No, that defense is so terrible that you're going to put up points either way. All I'm saying is to pass up on the, come on, you guys, you play video games. You know what I'm talking about. Pass up on the cheat codes. Try to do it the hard way. If you played NHL 94, you got to win the Stanley Cup as the Sharks. And you never allow, like they had 2 guys on the team who could actually shoot the puck on your video game. Never use them. You could only score goals with Gino Ojic, the fighter. That was my rule. It was only Ojic could score my goals. And I still won the Stanley Cup.
Yeah, I think it's long overdue for us to see a game because we've never seen this offense this season really commit to running the ball. Like really, really, really commit. Like almost to the point where you're like, all right, let Aaron air it out a little bit. It's not really been that. It's it's almost been, it's not nearly as bad, but it's almost like the run game has become kind of a change up at times.
Yes.
And that's not what it should be.
Mm-mm.
Now, that there are a number of times which you can make the run, like certain series. Okay, the run game is going to become the change up on this series, or this series, like we're going to do a couple of RPOs and that's going to be our change up, or whatever it is. You have a number. The run game absolutely has to be, and we talked about this prior to the season, that if you go into the season and you expect Aaron to be your savior, it's not going to work out. Sure, there can be some games in which Aaron's going to be really, really good. And there are going to be some moments that he is going to show you why he's won 4 MVPs. But in terms of being able to put a franchise on it or put an offense on his back and carry it, he's not that guy anymore. And we haven't seen that guy this season. And throughout even his best moments, I don't think you can look at it and say, by the totality of his work, and say, yeah, that could be the quarterback that can. No, it has to start with the run game. It has to start with something else where you're not asking him to be that savior. You're not asking him to be that guy. And we have not seen okay, maybe I'm a little wrong. Minnesota was the time where they did it. Minnesota was the game, but we've seen it one time. And we haven't even seen it with Jaylen Warren. We saw it because he didn't play that game. He was injured. So the one time we've really seen this team really kind of commit to running the ball, it was with Kenneth Gainwell as the running back. So why is this not,
yeah.
Right. So why are we not seeing it? So maybe I did speak incorrectly. It's been one game that they've really been like gone into the game and been like, we're going to run the ball, and we're really going to run the ball.
And they did.
And they did. And they did it
really well.
Yeah. Sure
against a good defense.
Yeah.
Minnesota defense. FVO has a really good question here. It says, DK, why don't we, the Steelers, utilize slant routes and drag routes? And we watch the other team do it constantly, Chris. We watch the opponent just make these particular routes, these quick plays where you don't allow TJ Watt, Nick Herbig, or Alex Highsmith to get to the backfield so routinely. And you think, well, I mean, why wouldn't Pittsburgh be able to do that given the personnel? What's being missed there? Why doesn't it happen?
It does happen more often than you think. It's just sometimes Aaron predetermines his throw. And this really, really happened on Sunday night. There were 2 different times in which they ran a concept where there was a slant going to the middle of the field, in which that slant ended up being open and Aaron went a different direction. Now, one of them wasn't necessarily slant, but it was an in-breaking route.
I know what you mean. Yep.
One of them was the 4th down play where he goes to DK in the end zone in double coverage. Pat Freiermuth was open on the other side. And if he works, and Aaron even said it like after the game. This is not like I've had a chance to look at the film. No,
he instantly he brought it up afterward. Yep.
The other one that I'm thinking of was 3rd down after the Jonnu incompletion, that 3rd and long. So on the side that he threw it to, Kenneth Gainwell ran the route to the flat, and Aaron just immediately threw it to him. Well, they were running what's called the dragon concept on that side, where you have 2 receivers, and the receiver on the outside is running a slant, and the receiver on the inside is running a flat. And you typically read the flat first just to see if it's there. But you have to kind of have to go a little, like have your eyes go in 2 different directions a little bit, because if that slant is open, you have to also be able to see that and hit that. If there's no like hole defender or they're not in zone, if it's man and he wins, you have to hit that slant. Well, they were in man and Metcalf won the slant and probably would have been able to catch and run for the 1st down. And Aaron predetermined and threw it to the flat. Now, this is the problem with Aaron sometimes when he gets uncomfortable. Like we were talking about, if he gets uncomfortable, he will get to first read or he'll start predetermining throws before the snap of the ball. So then we can go back and open that can of worms and go through that conversation of, is it Aaron or is it the pass protection or is it both? You know,
right.
I'm not suggesting we go down that road. I'm just saying there are plays to be had there, but then there are also times where there are plays to be had and receivers aren't getting open. It doesn't have to be just one issue.
Danny Blaze says, this one, raises my ire a little bit. We love having you here, Danny. None of this is personal. Just let you know in advance. Too many 3-and-outs is why Warren had 14 carries. We have had quite the week here of discussing cause versus effect. This is not how this works. 3-and-outs don't cause Warren to have 14 carries. Warren having limited carries is what causes too many 3-and-outs. You're listening to the coach a little bit too intently there, my friend. He wants you to buy this. This is that whole third down thing. Well, we went 0 for 9 on third down, so we didn't have enough. We didn't have the football long enough. No, you went 0 for 9 on third down because you didn't use your feature running back. You didn't treat him like a feature running back. You're, I don't know, afraid he's going to get hurt or something. Whatever it is that Tomlin still has, whatever his boogeyman is about Warren, he won't let it go. He won't let it go. He's been at this forever now, going back to when he first arrived and blew everybody away in that one training camp and had everyone, wow, he's going to challenge Najee Harris. No, he's not. No, he's not. I've made up my mind. He's not. Warren goes, takes the field, outruns Najee nonstop. What ends up happening? Jalen gets nicked a couple of times, which is going to happen to a running back. He gets nicked a couple of times. He gets labeled for it. Not even necessarily by the public, which is where it usually happens, but by the head coach. You can hear it in the things that he says. Even in the summertime, he'll say, well, you know, when he stays on the field, he is that. Oh, really? That's what we're going to Corey Trice him now? That's there is a cause and there is an effect. If you went and you looked at Warren's volume of runs on first down, on second down, he hadn't even been on the field on third down. It takes no less an authority than Aaron Rodgers himself yesterday to bring up, unsolicited by the way, that Warren needs to be getting more runs on first and second downs. And then he said, and I also wouldn't mind having him out there on third downs, although he had to say something respectful about Gainwell. This is where this needs to change. From there, if you still have too many 3-and-outs and you're facing an opponent, as you just were in Inglewood, that couldn't stop the run, that's when you say, wow, man, too many 3-and-outs. Or just not enough on third down. But that's not the cause. That's the effect. There, Danny, how did I do here? Did I let you off easy?
Well, let me add to that, and I'm going to go back to something that I wrote on our app 2 days ago. And so if you have our app, I'm going to plug it here, but if you have our app, you would have already known this for 2 days. And so you're, yeah. Jalen Warren. Actually, no, Steelers currently run the ball 52.61 or 52.6% of the time on first down. That ranks 21st in the NFL.
Not good.
The league average is around 54%. In spite of this, Warren averages 4.92 yards per carry on first down, which ranks 13th among all running backs with at least 50 carries.
That is good.
And he has a 55.4% success rate on first down, which ranks 10th among those running backs with at least 50 carries. So if you run the ball on first down with Jalen Warren, a lot of the time, the majority of the time, you're going to be on schedule. You're going to be in 2nd and 7, 2nd and 5, 2nd and 6. From there, you have full access to the playbook. I actually like to think about the drive in the second half against the Packers. The one drive of those first 3 drives where they did things right.
Mm-hmm.
They ran the ball on first down. They got 4 yards with Jalen Warren. 2nd and 6. Full access to your playbook. Next play was an in-breaking route to DK Metcalf, which went for 20+. They go down, they get points. They kick a field goal. Now you'd like for it to end a touchdown, but hey, it was a productive drive. You got points out of it. The other drives in which you threw on first down, you either got sacked on first down, which meant you put yourself in only throwing situations, or you were incomplete on first down and now you're behind schedule. Now you're off schedule. Now you're not able to have access to the playbook. Now you have to minimize what you can possibly do. Now, am I saying that your rush rate on first down needs to be 100%? Absolutely not. You have to have other things that you can do. There could be times in which you call both a run and a pass in the huddle, and then Rodgers gets the line. He sees what the defense goes, and he's like, you know what? If we don't do the pass play here, we're stupid. You have those instances too, but they're not running the ball nearly enough on first down. They're just not. And the run pass crowd's going to hear that and disagree, and that's fine. But the numbers speak for themselves. They don't run the ball enough on first down.
You know, some increasing mention in the live chat that accompanies this program as it's being aired about the offensive line, specifically about Broderick Jones, whether or not he's going to play this weekend. He has a groin injury. He was limited yesterday. I don't know if today's injury report has even come out.
It has.
It has. Okay. Well, what was he today?
Broderick was, I believe, a limited participant. Let me pull it up. Our Jose Negron put it in our feed on our app. Broderick did improve to being a limited participant today with his groin injury.
Okay, versus not participating at all.
He did not practice at all on Wednesday.
So that's something. The grading on these guys, first of all, is an inexact science, to say the least. But by every accounting, the offensive line as a unit is getting at least a little bit better. I don't think it's leaps and bounds. Broderick is up and down. And when he's up and down, it affects everybody because the Steelers do throw an inordinate number of passes. When you're talking about, and not to mention, it's not just that they throw passes. If you think about the things that drove you nuts, or drove me nuts against the Chargers, maybe right behind the usage of Warren was Rodgers' tendency to look way downfield for some reason. He had open targets down low. There were plays available to him down low. Everybody could have just moved the ball. Yeah, Chris, you must have heard me say how many times in that press box, why are they not showing any patience? Patience was the word I kept using. Patience. They didn't have any. It was like, well, that play didn't go well. All right, let's go for it all. It's like, what was the point of that? Now, you wanted Metcalf to get involved. And everybody, to their credit, has reiterated that all week long, most notably Rodgers himself yesterday, saying, that's the guy that I have to, he's an A-list receiver in this league. I have to keep feeding him. He's right, but you don't have to do it when it's not dovetailing with the rest of what's happening here. Also, you want to get him involved, but you're not getting the protection. You can't pretend you're getting the protection. You know, get him involved. DK's 80-yard touchdown this year was on what kind of play?
And breaking route, really short pass. Yeah,
that's it. And off he went with those giant Metcalf strides down the field. You know, it was actually beautiful to watch.
It really was. No, I'm not. There was a really gigantic mosquito over here, and I had wanted to kill it before it tried to, do its damage. So the one thing that I keep seeing about the pass protection is, and we had some comments on the show yesterday, is that the overall pressure rate allowed is improving, and it is. I don't know how else to put it other than there is one issue. 30% of the pressures.
Oh, I know where this is going.
Come from one spot.
Which spot might that be? Football expert Chris Halleck.
Left tackle.
See how that goes? Everybody's a football expert on that front.
That means of the other 70% of the pressures are coming from 4 other spots. So divvy that up. It's consistently one spot that is failing usually. Now that also means that Troy Fautanu is not perfect. That also means that the guys on the interior are not perfect. But the guys on the interior have been really, really good. I mean, Frazier, McCormick, and Sayamalo have all been very, very good. The pressures are usually coming from one spot.
We're going to take a couple more today. James says, I'm not sure if the Steelers can score enough points running the ball to keep up with Flacco, Chase, and Higgins, DK. You want to know a great way to stop even the world's greatest offense, which is the Cincinnati offense? Keep them on the sideline, pal.
Yeah,
they're not going to put up points. If you have yourself a 15-play drive, how many of those have the Steelers had this year? Nil. That's because they've yet to establish this identity. They've yet to establish who they are. As a result, their defense is out there for 70-plus snaps a game. And everyone's wondering, what's wrong with the defense? They look tired. They look old. Not old. They're out there all day. The Chargers had the equivalent of a full quarter of additional possession the other night in Inglewood. It's 15 minutes and change. And we're wondering what the heck happened to the defense. Why did they look like they wore down? Well, that's why. That's why. Hold the football. Make those guys antsy over there, Chase and Higgins. Man, we can't affect the game over here. What's happening here? Maybe we need to go Travis Hunter and go both ways and be a defensive player too. Jonathan asks, does Aaron make Arthur go away from the running identity? I've heard a lot of this week, meaning from fans. I remember him saying something in the offseason about adjusting their identity since they have Rodgers now. Well, that's not what that means. That doesn't mean pass versus run. Rodgers has always been, going back to his peak Green Bay days, he's been compatible with the running game. You think about some of the runners that the Packers have had over the years who were there as part of his offense. He's not a guy that has trouble with that. And I'm going to repeat this. Rodgers has now twice publicly advocated for Warren to get the ball more. He did it immediately after the game in Inglewood. He did it yesterday here on the South Side. So I don't think this is an Aaron thing. I think this is an Art thing.
And to add to that, because the other thing that gets attached to this is Aaron checking out of plays? Is Aaron, we go right back to the Audible conversation. Now, I'm really glad that somebody brought it up with Arthur Smith today, and Arthur Smith almost took offense to it. He was usually Arthur is really chummy and kind of cracking jokes, and it'll usually be some sort of historical reference, or it'll be a pop culture reference like Napoleon Dynamite like a few weeks ago. It'll be something along those lines. Today it was not like that at all. And when he gets the one question about like the audibles and stuff, he almost took offense. Listen, every single quarterback that he's had, and it's universal throughout the league, that a lot of the time there are multiple plays called in the huddle. And the quarterback will get to the line, look at the defense, and give whatever signal, terminology, whatever, to say, we're running play 1 or we're running play 2, whatever it is. Looking at the defense, we're going off of this play. Then there are also plays, both originally with the original playbook, that have built-in tags, checks, whatever else. Then there are also new, not necessarily new plays, but plays that have checks built in a game plan for that specific week, in which they add a tag or add a check to a specific play, go through it, practice it, so that they know, hey, if we see – everybody remember the touchdown pass from Kenny to George against the Ravens from 2 years ago, the deep pass down the right sideline? That was one of those plays. Even under a Matt Canada offense, that was one of those plays where you have a play. If you see cover 0 on this, which means a blitz is coming and there's no safety over the top, you are going to get max protection and you're going to alert the go route to George. That's what you did. That's what Kenny saw. He checked the protection. He checked to that tag. Then he made the throw. That's what you do. This is normal practice for the NFL. So no, there is no conspiracy to be had that Aaron is making Art do this, or Aaron's checking out passes or out of runs to throw the ball. Stop it. It's not a thing.
Daniel says, with the last question of the day, Do we think that Terrell Austin and Mike Tomlin will be prepared with a way to stop the quick slants all game from happening again, referring, of course, to Chase and Higgins and the way Joe Flacco was able to hit them so quickly that no one could get after him because there just wasn't any time. And once those guys caught the ball, oh my goodness, the damage they were doing. So how do you stop them this time? You have even lesser personnel, by the way, than you did in Cincinnati.
The answer, Denny, is not press coverage, because if you want to do press coverage, you're going to see what happened last time. They tried press coverage and they got smoked quite often. If anything, it's less blitzing, less man coverage, which means like a lot of 4-man rushes and a lot of zone coverage. That's what it means. Less blitzing. Williams says it. You cannot, I mean, you can blitz until your heart's content. If Flacco's getting rid of the ball in 2.25 seconds, you're not getting there. You're just not. So don't blitz. Plug as many holes as you possibly can. Are there going to be times in which the pass rush doesn't get there and Flacco's able to hit a receiver inside of a window in zone? Absolutely. It's going to happen. This is Jamar Chase and T. Higgins we're talking about. You're not going to completely neutralize them. But will it stop Jamar from having 16 catches for 161 yards? Stands a much better chance that way, because you're at least giving your 4 pass rushers, which, by the way, are really, 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 really good, of having a chance to have Flacco hold on to that ball for an extra half a second and giving those guys a chance to get back there. It's a really bad offensive line, by the way.
Guys, now that the scars have healed, I think, maybe some of them anyway, from the loss in Inglewood, I now feel completely comfortable coming back at you with this app stuff. It's the only way to support us. It's the only way to support the company. It's how we get around to do all of this reporting that we do, whether it's on the road or home, whatever it is. The volume, the staffers like Chris and everybody, they are full time. They're not doing this as like a hobby. Okay, Chris has mouths to feed over there in North for Sales, and we have, we have some of those ourselves, and kids to put through college and whatever else here. If you're interested, and you might not be, but if you're interested in supporting this venture, the way to do that comes with a benefit to you, and that's to download our app, where you get our reporting around the clock, 24/7, unlike anywhere else on Steelers, Penguins, and Pirates.
Is it expensive, DK?
It's, oh my goodness. Not only is it not expensive, but you'll be like offended by how cheap it is once you email me, meaning to get the premium level that has no ads. You can communicate with us. You do live cues. That's what we call them. Those are the question and answer sessions with the reporters. Although the truth is, we answer your questions all the time on there. We're constantly available. It's where you can leave your J1 cues for my daily shots. And all of these shows that you see or hear, they're all there too. So go download the DK Pittsburgh Sports app. That part is free. Do it on your Apple, do it on your Android device. After that, email me, dk@dkpittsburghsports.com. I am now going to type that so you can visualize what that email looks like in your send bar. And then from there, all we need is you to execute. Like yesterday was the execution show. You just have to execute. We have the game plan. Send me that. I'm going to sit right over there on that chair, finish this thing off while Chris heads back to the home bureau, and I will be answering your emails over there to get you these discounts. All right? So let's take care of that today. Mike asks before we go here, because we are also in Sweden right now, covering the Penguins versus Predators this weekend. Game 1 of that global series, as the NHL is calling it, is tomorrow. Game 2 is Sunday in the morning, Eastern time, before the Steelers play. If you get up real early, you'll be able to have yourself a pucks and football kind of doubleheader. Taylor Haas is over there. Of course, she is covering that for us. that whole thing. You can see that on the app and everything. Live files. What kind of question is that? We always have our live files, Mike. You know that.
Every game.
It is a really, really good deal. It's an even better deal if you're military, as Mike points out here, because then you pay zero. That's something that's our way of saying thank you to those who serve. We never accept thanks in the other direction on that one. So email me, dk@dkpittsburghsports.com. Chris, we'll do one more of these tomorrow.
Sounds good.
All right. Take care, guys.